So I'm just going to continue. I don't even know. Anyways, the so on Friday, a week before that, Layla and I had well, we met somebody. I know that sounds pretty kinky. um, I met the first person that I have met in, I don't know, forever. Jeannie was probably the closest. I thought he was, rather, but he couldn't even be this for me. I would say Casper, my husband, is really the only person I've been able to talk to. So I met a woman, and she offered me friendship. And she was from the church. And this was true friendship because she knew who I was. She confessed that she had many of the same beliefs as me. So she invited me over to her house, me and Layla. Layla had a tremendous time playing with the gal. Let's see, I should give her a name. Maleficent. That just sounds so bad, but I'm just gonna call her Maleficent. I mean, because right now I have to honor my feelings about this. Like I said, that carnival night was the best times and the worst. It was like, anyway. So as I'm playing mom and coming more into my power and feeling who I am, that I haven't screwed up all these years like I thought I did. I let my girl pack split up, and this is a really big move for me because I'm usually that overprotective mom. No, you stay with me, but I've also had to come to realize that Layla is 12, and she knows what she needs to do. I have to be willing to step back. And so we come to the evening, and I finally let my girl pack split up. I let two go off to one direction, and Layla and this other gal who had basically converted herself, toward understanding what it meant to be a better parent, that she didn't need to follow in the footsteps of her mother and how her own mother had always done things, or how her aunt had been always done things. And that she could take just more responsibility. She could be kinder and whatever. So, but then I suddenly get this intuition to leave Layla. And see, this is, if there was anybody I was going to be closer to, it was going to be to Layla. As much as I care for my niece and the other girl, my loyalty is to Layla first and foremost. But something was telling me to go over and check on my niece. And that Layla will be fine. So I have to trust this. I mean, just mom. Okay. But, so I go over there and check. And who should I see but this woman that invited us to her house a week prior. Now I need to step back a little bit because she invited us to her house and we had a wonderful evening. I divulged so much about myself, talked about just things I had not been able to talk to anybody about. Particularly though, I finally had somebody to talk to about Casper. Somebody to actually just process all these feelings that I've been having. Feelings that were mirrored by how Jamie treated me, but he treated me in a much worse way. In some ways. But if you give Casper the benefit of time, that's an extreme amount of neglect. And then as I'm talking to Layla today, and I'm realizing that part of what we're healing is also a lot of not sexual abuse in the sense of how everybody looks at it, I'm just talking about bloodline sexual trauma. So I don't know what's happened in our bloodline. I mean, I do know that my mom was molested by her father. And my mom never wanted to deal with this. So my mom became an alcoholic in an attempt to numb it. And would always get mad at me because I became a psychologist. And so in her mind, everything I always did was psychobabble. It had no rhyme, reason, or purpose. It was just stupid. For some reason, I was a huge disappointment to my mom. And you know what? I never realized this all these years. She's the one that abandoned me when I was 13. All these years, I had been trying to fix that. And I can now see how my relationships with Casper and then Jeannie were an attempt for me to fix this mother wound of abandonment, to fix my own sexual trauma over having been neglected by the other sex through my whole teenage years. And the first man that showed interest in me, Casper, suddenly that's where I had to go. You know, but I have no idea what other trauma is in my bloodline other than what happened directly to my mom and that somehow affected me, because I realized, and I told Layla, we're working on a generational curse here of what's been going on between mother and daughter, you know, for 4 generations that I know of. So, we go to church on Sunday, and I suddenly realized, because this was Layla was actually going to get to sing up on stage. This is the second time this summer she's gotten the chance to do that, to sing with the worship band, and that was an amazing experience for her. And Maleficent's daughter was going to get to sing too. And it was just all going to be perfect, but suddenly I'm feeling really uncomfortable because I slipped back into what I now realize is my very codependent puppy dog behavior of, somebody likes me, I'm gonna follow this person around even though they're showing me all the signs that they don't, like me. And it was like, this person could be so opening and warm in her house, but suddenly at church it was almost like I was an embarrassment to her. Go figure. Everybody there knows I'm different. Nobody accepts me anyway. But I guess it's not cool to associate with the outcast. I feel kind of like I was back in high school. Pretty lame, huh? I was always the outcast. Why should me being 38 and at church be any different? It's crazy. When you really start to look at these patterns, they're crazy. And my phone overheated, by the way. I'm playing with the case now. I like to play with things. Anyway, so I realize I'm falling back into these codependent behaviors, and I tell her, okay, I'm going to back off for a little bit because I poured my heart out to you, and that terrified me. I let you get way too close to me, and I haven't been wanting to let anybody get close to me because of how Jeannie utterly destroyed me. And I have been working so hard on myself. And all of a sudden, it's like the universe was testing me by sending in Maleficent. I can't help it. Every time I see that name now, I just laugh. Anyway. So Friday was the first time I had seen her in 5 days. And it just so happened to be at the carnival, where I had just gotten through having this wonderful experience where I was shown how wonderful of a mom I had actually been and how I could impact a young girl's life and get her to completely change her direction in just a matter of like 2 hours. So I was drawn over to the Ferris wheel and see Maleficent and her daughter there. Not thinking anything of it, really. I mean, because they are still my friends. I just told them I needed to take things slow. I think I have a right to ask for things to go slow. I'm not just going to jump in again like I did with Jeannie and sell myself, in essence. I really felt like I was a slut. I guess we're talking about more sexual healing that I'm doing. Maleficent And this was funny because she only came to ride one ride, so this was all God. God orchestrated this entire thing. I couldn't have done it. We end up talking for a little bit, and within a very brief period of time, I'm suddenly very confused by her because she had been checking up on me with the people at church. Why don't you like Tiffany? What's the matter with her? And she came to her opinions. And now suddenly she was going to confront me about all this. And their biggest thing was, well, she said she didn't believe in the crucifixion of Jesus. I said, I never said that. You know, and have they bothered checking up with me since then? I have a very strong relationship with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And it's not up to anybody to question my walk with Jesus and the Holy Spirit or God. I have a personal relationship, but I will admit, I don't follow man's ideas. I am spirit-led. So when I said I didn't believe in it, at the time, what I was doubting was their interpretation, and I told them I didn't believe in their interpretation, but I was searching for my own. But nobody's bothered to check up. But actually, I've told them, I've been honest since I got back. Hey, I found out what I really believe in, and I'm spirit-led now. I don't follow your guys' beliefs, but that's okay because my heart wants to speak to your heart. That seems to be pretty obvious. At least it did to me. So I don't like this live format because I keep losing my train of thought. The day just... So we're in this evening now and she's confusing the hell out of me. Every sense I have that is telling me something's not right here. Every alarm I have is going off. And she's confusing me because she's saying something one moment and turning around saying something completely different the next. I am trying to keep up with all this, trying to rectify the contradictions that I keep seeing. The contradictions are piling up. And finally I tell her, okay, I'm walking away again because I'm feeling really triggered. I don't like this state. I want to create this friendship with you. We hit it off so well. I don't want to ruin things right now. I have been through a lot. And I want to slow this down again. She texted me that night saying, well, I just had to speak my truth. And, you know, it was important that you hear it. So I texted her back telling her that this is why I don't tell people what I believe. Because I always check myself first. And if I believe something about somebody, I'm always going to look at myself to see at myself in the mirror, to look at the plank in my own eye before I speak of the speck in someone else's. However, I've done enough plank work to realize that sometimes I am being called on to speak a truth to somebody that needs to hear it, that needs to be humbled. So, I delivered that humble pie. You know, somebody, a YouTuber I listened to a while back said that phrase. I just loved it. Humble pie. Eat a slice of your humble pie. It was so beautiful. I actually really wish I could remember who said that because I've been through so many YouTube videos and I just actually canceled all my subscriptions because it was getting too confusing for me. I was getting too many conflicting messages. So I don't even know who said it. So, but at this point, it was time for me to say, you're projecting on me. You talk about being afraid for my daughter, but in reality what you're really afraid of is that you have been an alcoholic all your life and you are concerned that you are going to royally mess up your daughter. And you guys have a terrible relationship right now, and you say that you want to, that everybody deserves a second chance, but you're not giving yourself a second chance. You're not forgiving yourself. You're just keeping yourself in this state of constantly bashing who you are, where you have been. You are not forgiving yourself. You're not allowing your daughter to live. And so you really need to back off of me. You don't know me. You don't know how much I have changed in this past year just because I poured out my heart to you, because I finally found a listening ear that would hear me. And I needed to be able to say some of those things to a physical person. But that does not mean that I haven't healed from all that I haven't found it in my heart to try to find reconciliation where it seems like reconciliation should be impossible. And she also didn't understand why I wanted to stay at my church, despite the fact that they don't like me. And I said, because this is where God sent me. God doesn't send me to the comfortable places where I can always exist where I am. He's going to ask me to go into the places where I'm feeling triggered, where I'm feeling uncomfortable, so I can learn to keep my heart open, so I can learn to see their hearts. And when I see that something is not right, I will say it. Anyways, I don't know everything that I said, but I just laid it all out there. I'm not playing this game. And people are hurting each other way too much in the world, and I am really getting tired of this. So I'm not playing this game of bolstering up people's egos. And if somebody's going to come at me with that type of energy, thank you very much, Jeannie, for teaching me to stand up for myself. Because I did. And I cleared my karma. I know I did. I was empowered. I was preaching the word. It was an amazing experience. I mean, and to put it kind of, I felt like I was drunk on the Spirit. And then Sunday came, so 1 week after the first Sunday, and I saw her because she basically threatened to put a restraining order on me that I was never supposed to come near her again. I'm like, what the hell? We go to the same church. It's my church too. I'm allowed to be there. Unless somebody tells me differently. Just like, unless Casper tells me differently, I'm going to keep trying to fix things until I realize there's nothing else I can do and God shows me the door out. But until then, it is my job to keep trying to figure out how I can dance with someone that doesn't know how to dance, how I can love the unlovable, how I can work past people's projections and find out how to create a relationship when most people are just hell-bent on running away from what they consider to be toxic. This is what this gal's relationship was. I triggered her, and suddenly she felt I was toxic. Oh well, I don't care. It's the same thing Jeannie did. I triggered him, made him see something about himself that he didn't want to see, so I became the bad guy. I became scapegoated. There is not a damn thing I can do to bolster their egos, and I am not going to. That is not my job in this world. My job is to break down barriers to love so humanity can exist in its potential. I'm leading the march to restore human potential, and I am waiting for people to come and join me. And all I'm finding is people that are really weak-willed, and it's disappointing. Yeah, but I keep checking myself. And at a certain point, I have to realize there's really not much else I can do. At this point, I do have to be the reluctant narcissist and say, I know. I have figured out enough of this stuff, and every time I say something or feel something, I still continue to check myself before I say something to somebody else. But trust me, when I have to deliver that message, it is not a soft blow. So I cleared up my karma. And it was painful. And she hurt Layla a lot. Because Layla looked at Maleficent's daughter. Well, in the movie Disney Descendants, Maleficent's daughter's named Mal or something like that. And Layla looked at her like her little sister. Layla had so much love in her heart. It was amazing for her to have this experience with this little girl. And so for Maleficent to do that, to decide to live in her fear and to be evil and try to take somebody down, and I know she's going to try to pull some other crap. Should be interesting to see what's going to happen. Things are coming to a head with this church. And if that makes me a bad person for trying to find a way for us all to get along, trying to find a way for there to be love in a place where everybody just wants to sin, wants to divide their hearts, then I'm evil, I'm hypocritical, and I'm serving Satan. Oh well. That's what everybody wants to say about me. I'll just accept that role. I'm the reluctant narcissist. Signing off. I wondered if Maleficent was tied to my past life as Sabrina Ann Farnsworth and the woman that delivered my baby and took her, raised her as her own. Because I really felt the energy strongly from Maleficent that she wanted to destroy the relationship between Layla and I. I had to use my intuition, and I was so tempted. I kind of developed a love-hate relationship with Satan. I realized that, according to the book of Job, that God sent him down, or God let him have free reign. God let him tempt us. But it was never supposed to go this far. The temptation kind of took on a life of its own, and so we're all living under that curse. Regardless, I can look at my tempter in the face and say thank you for showing me my blind spot. And I was almost tempted once again to fall under the illusion of love. I really wanted to believe that this time would be different. This time there would be love. Talk about attracting higher vibrational people. I keep doing it. Keep being disappointed. At some point, I've got to find love. So this crusader goes on. I know I've cleared out some sexual trauma in my bloodline. I mean, just the conversation that Layla and I had today indicated as such. Lots of things are coming up, just clearing left and right. Such that I realize these past 9 months have not been wasted. Even though I may have felt wasted in my tears and my body just feeling terrible, it's all been worth it. Because what has happened over these last few weeks to really move myself into this new life and to create has been utterly beyond my expectations. So, like I said a few weeks ago, when I made my hello goodbye message, my new life is starting. It's confusing, because I don't know if my new life is starting with one final kind of tarot tower moment of what's going to happen to my marriage with Casper. Because I'm still not happy. I still don't have, sexual fulfillment. I still feel very neglected. Yeah, my tongue has gotten sharper. I'm no longer tolerating the put downs or whatever that I was before. I have really moved into my own individual, but it's me asking myself, isn't there something else to life? Isn't there happiness somewhere for me? I decided to look and see if I could find Jeannie today. And it's kind of hard because, I don't have Facebook anymore, but I just decided to do a Google search and found out he did have a profile. And I found out that he has left his life as it was and gone into hiding. And I was just really jealous because one of the things I told him is, you have no idea what you've got here. I wish I could be a hermit. I wish I could just go off and go from one isolated place to another. I wish I didn't have to have people around me so often. I wish I had more wilderness. I wish I had wilderness skills. All directions I'm heading in, I guess. But I don't think I'm ever going to stop wanting that man. Regardless of everything that happens, my heart keeps telling me that there's still something there. That people can change. He has changed. And refusing to believe that he's a false twin. I'm going to cut this off now. I love you all. Bye.